Hi, Lynn. I'm glad you're on. I got one of your questions I'm about to answer. Okay, so the first question we have is from Nancy. She asked, how do you associate with the police force? Essentially, when we work on cases, we have a variety of different cases where we do work hand in hand with the police. Cases could, involve domestic dispute, divorce, custody battles, different types of surveillance as well. And, but oddly enough, last week I was teaching an individual, and while writing my training manual for him, I took out some cases that I worked on many moons ago, cold cases. And these cold cases in particular are files that have either been completely closed or recently reopened of a case dated that just never was resolved with the police. This cold case in particular was a missing person, and this person believed that she was abducted when she was younger, and now 40 odd years later believes she is that youth and wants to reopen the investigation and be tested to see. So for those particular types of cases, you work with the police that are associated to that file, and try to coordinate everything and help as much as possible. So those types of cases are really how the best I can describe that we work with the police force. That being said, we can work not so much side by side. There are cases that I have worked with where I'm trying to prove either negligence from the police or that I have to review their work and the scene afterwards to make sure that they didn't forget anything for my client. A perfect example is a murder trial that I worked on. And essentially, my client is trying to prove his innocence, whereas the police are trying to prove his guilt. So that's just another example I can give you there. Donc, that is your question, Nancy. Hope it answers it. And Lynn, last week you asked, what is the cost for hiring a private investigator? Le coupable, exactement, Michel, merci. Donc, what is the cost for hiring a private investigator? And that really varies. And I can't really give you a number particularly. It depends on who you hire, what city you're in, and what service you're looking for. So in the Ottawa area, for instance, private investigation agencies will go anywhere between $50 an hour all the way up to about $130 an hour, depending on the agency. Those are mostly for investigative research and surveillance cases. However, if you're looking for, missing persons cases, or you're looking for process serving, if you're looking for just missing information as well, so an address lookup, a license plate search, phone number, that kind of stuff, those would be flat rate fees typically, and they can vary as well from a quick $50 as well to all the way up to over $2,000. So it really depends the service, depends the information you have to give to us. I've worked on cases where somebody's wanted me to find who this individual was. It was a biological relative, and all we had to go on was the picture that they gave us, an approximate location and approximate year. So we don't necessarily always have a lot of information to go on to start. Hi, Phil. And because of that, your costs can go up quite a bit. One question I had here is, did you get any training or mentoring when starting your company? No. So I never worked as a private investigator prior to starting my agency. However, I did go through all of the training and licensing processes that you have to do. I didn't have you're welcome, Lynn. I hope it answers your question. I did, however, go through various types of competitions and grant competitions, which gave you a mentor, but a business mentor, not a industry mentor. So I hope that kind of answers a little bit in regards to that. But also being raised by an entrepreneur helped at a young age, kind of having that mind frame, as well as having a mother like the one I do kind of gives you all of the tips and guidance that you really need to succeed, especially in a male dominated industry. So, and keep in mind, I started the business when I was 23 or 24 years old. So things have changed a lot in the past 5 years, and thankfully anyways. So the last question I have is it easy to become a PI? I guess it really depends who you are and your knowledge on law. So you have to go through a mandatory training. You have to write a exam, and you have to apply for your license. So you also have to pass a background check, criminal background, all that kind of stuff. If you're not really good at law or studying for it, I would say it's not necessarily easy to go and write that exam. It can be quite stressful. Aside from that, it really depends who you are. So Anita is saying it's fun to learn the process, especially when your mentor makes it fun. So Anita is actually, as well as Victoria, there are some students that took my course, and I love that you guys are on right now. Thank you very much. And Anita, it's always easy to make it fun when these students are just as fun. Okay, so Michelle, I think there was a few questions on your end that people submitted. Were you always interested in this line of work? Hubert, thank you. No, I don't think so. Maybe. So I always wanted, my dream was to be an infantry soldier. I've always wanted to be part of the military. It was my biggest dream. But I had a back accident, and that couldn't evolve into anything. Unfortunately, I was a liability. So I did go into private security, and I did do loss prevention, and I did also work as a commissioner, as a prison guard for the RCMP in the Northwest Territories. So I guess part of me was always interested in that. I was raised by individuals that work on the federal side, but in intelligence as well. So I guess it was kind of always there, but subconsciously. I didn't know a private investigator existed until about 2 months before I took my course. So, and I never would have imagined at that point that I was going to start my own company. So it kind of just evolved. Okay, so Michelle, you say, question from viewer Joe, what will make the Sleuth any different from other shows about PIs out there? That is a fantastic question. So everything right now, so the Sleuth essentially is going to be the first and only reality TV show with a female private investigator as the star. You're going to, it's not nothing Hollywood, it's all real, it's real cases, it's real drama, it's real adrenaline. So you're going to see my private life and like my personal life, as well as my business life. You're going to see me interact with my employees, me interact with clients. You're going to see me do crazy things and fun adventures. And you're just going to experience it as if you're with me, as opposed to just watching a TV show that has no, that everything is written. So what you're going to be watching, none of it is fictional. So it's really, there's a huge difference. Hi, Kelsey. Do you have any self-defense training? Have you ever had to use skills to physically apprehend someone? Oh, that's a good question. Self-defense training, I do. But have I ever had to use it? No. The only thing I think I would have to say that I've used is running. Being chased by a baseball bat once, that's our famous story. Anyways, that I guess being quick on your feet really helped that particular case. But no, I've never had to physically apprehend anybody. We've been prepared for it on numerous occasions, but we very seldomly would end up at that point. And if so, we would typically get the police involved if we ever had to. So do any of you guys have any questions for me or about the show, about what it's like being a private investigator, anything like that? Let me know in the comments. I'll answer them as I see them. I do notice sometimes that I miss some with the show. Episodes be 30 or 60 minutes. That's a very good question, and that is still up in the air. So that I can't really answer more than that. It really depends. It depends on various things. And so right now, it's that portion is still up in the air. It would be really nice to have, it'd be easy to have a 60-minute episode for sure. But 30 minutes also, it's nice to have something condensed as well. Nancy asks, when is the TV show start and where? So right now, COVID-19 has put a halt on pretty much all production. So as some of you guys have seen as well on TV, a lot of reruns are being played right now. People are filming from their homes instead, or they're not having guests at their network. So everything is on a halt, and I can't give you any more information than that until we are given the green light to continue on. So the question was, where, in what region do you work? So, and also, does it have to do with the United States? So we are based in Ottawa, Ontario, and I work mostly in Ottawa. However, we have cases throughout the entire province of Ontario. That being said, our clients are worldwide. We have, and then in regards to the United States as well. So as long as the case can start in the province of Ontario, it can end up anywhere. And a lot of investigative research cases, I have clients from all four corners of the world. So there's no limitation there. Have you found a network? So Hubert, those are the little questions that I can't quite answer just yet. I'm going to leave you on suspense with that. Donc la question c'était, est-ce que vous avez trouvé un network? Donc de télévision. Ça, c'est une question que je ne vais pas répondre tout de suite. Je vais vous laisser un petit peu en suspense quand ça vient aux détails fixes du show. And yeah, so Michelle, the director of the show, says we will provide updates when we can on our Facebook page, as well as probably make a little live at that point when we can release the official what channel, what time, and what day of the week, all of that kind of fun stuff. At that point, we'll be able to let everybody know. All right. So I'm just going to go about anything. So we started the company in 2015. And my first case, so I was by myself. Salut, Rec. I was by myself. No employees at that time. So I had anything with people's pets. There we go. So my network connection should not log out anymore. So anything with people's pets. Yeah, so we do get cases in regards to people having their pets stolen. And a lot of times, unfortunately, it has to do with domestic dispute in regards to either partners. So somebody saying that their boyfriend stole their dog. One case in particular, a woman had moved out of the province and had all of her stuff staying with one of her relatives. When she came back, that relative had moved, as well as taken her pet with her, which was a dog. And at that point, she denied having the dog and was trying to essentially lie about that and keep it for herself. So we had to do surveillance at that point, locate the individual, do surveillance, have proof that that dog is hers. And then SPCA and the vet and everything had to come in to confirm the identity of the dog. Thankfully, the dog had a chip on its neck. So those cases do happen, absolutely. So la question, so yeah, so cases regarding to pets happens a lot. But I've also been on surveillance at one particular time where I found a stray dog on the street while I was conducting surveillance, and I ended up going and taking the stray dog into my car with me, and he conducted surveillance with me for a good 3-4 hours solid. We bonded, And then I was able to, once the case, I was done working, I was able to go and find his owner. And that was fun. The unexpected twist. Have you ever had a case with a super unexpected twist? Well, the day I got chased by a baseball bat, that was pretty unexpected. I'm not gonna lie. But I think the outcome of a majority of my cases is unexpected. So we touched on double lives a little bit last week. So the case in particular where the husband had a whole other family in a different town that he'd go and see twice a week without his other kids and wife aware. I didn't expect that. We've also done surveillance on somebody, and turns out they were in a huge swinging club, but this individual was a huge introvert, or so we thought. So that was unexpected. When you see certain things, you can't really erase them from your memory. The case that I had mentioned about hiring us solely for their sexual fantasies and their kind of pleasures, that was really unexpected as well. So I think that the majority of the cases we work on, we have no idea what the outcome is going to be. And I don't even think we try to guess anymore, because I think everybody's got skeletons in their closet. And once we figure out what those skeletons are, we just kind of wish that we had never opened that door. You know, a lot of times too, it has to do with the people you least expected have drugs and have drug problems, gambling problems, problems also just an addiction to hiring prostitutes and all that kind of stuff. So, and sometimes it's people you don't expect. So doctors, politicians, lawyers, you know, people with title, people with respect. And sometimes you don't expect these things, but it happens. Donc, la question, c'était, y a-t-il aussi des dossiers où il y avait vraiment quelque chose qui est arrivé, les résultats étaient vraiment pas attendus, tu t'imaginais jamais ça. Puis oui, la majorité de nos cas sont vraiment inattendus, comme la semaine dernière quand j'avais parlé à propos des personnes qui ont deux vies, une double vie. Puis l'homme en particulier qui avait une femme et des enfants dans une autre ville qu'il allait visiter 2 fois par semaine sans que sa femme ici à la maison et ses autres enfants en aperçoivent. Comme tu penses pas que ça arrive jusqu'à temps que tu le vois. Un autre homme en particulier qui était vraiment gêné comme caractère, qu'une fois qu'on a complété la filature, on a su qu'il faisait partie d'un swingers club. Ça c'était quand tu échanges ton partenaire essentiellement. Puis ça, on s'attendait à tout, mais pas ça. Il y a aussi beaucoup de cas comme qui ça rapporte, quand je m'ai fait chasser par la madame avec son bâton de baseball, je m'attendais pas à ça cette nuit-là, à comme 3 heures du matin en plus, mais ça l'est arrivé. Mais aussi, il y a beaucoup de personnes que tu t'attends pas, comme des docteurs, des avocats, des personnes avec du respect puis avec un titre, qui ont des problèmes d'abus d'alcool, de drogue, de gambling. Ils vont souvent au casino, aussi des addictions à toujours embaucher des prostituées. Donc, vraiment, la majorité, c'est des cas que tu t'attends vraiment pas. Hi, Raina. Thanks for joining us. Being in Ottawa, do you get a lot of cases revolving around politicians? Yeah, every 4 years, I'd say. But no, yeah, seriously, we do. It's a revolving door in Ottawa. But however, we have to watch what we take on because of conflict of interest, obviously. But that being said, it brings us into a lot of forensics accounting. It brings us into a lot of sleuthing, digging and investigative research into somebody. Some people hire us into finding out what are the secrets that they're hiding, where's the money coming from, their funding coming from, is there anything from their past that can come back and kind of bite them in the butt. So Ottawa's a breeding ground for politicians, and it keeps us busy. We have journalists that hire us solely for this purpose as well. So it's interesting. It's interesting. Any odd cases during these quarantine times? So Hubert, that's a great question. We've had a ton of interesting inquiries, but I'm not actually taking on any cases while in quarantine. We've had several of our employees that were actually traveling during the start of the pandemic, so they had to do a 14-day self-isolation and restricted quarantine at the beginning. And then also with that, I had a couple people on my team that were very, very ill and had to be tested. So I just, at that point, before Trudeau made the announcement to close small businesses that are not essential services, I decided to just shut down. So as of May 16th, I have not been taking on any cases. I've only been doing training and teaching. So, but we have gotten a lot of interesting inquiries. I think people right now are very paranoid about what is happening. They're reading way too many fake news outlets and are just thinking that all of this is made up and they want us to prove it. So we get a lot of that kind of stuff. And but I haven't taken anything directly since prior to May 16th. Well, what kind of courses do you offer? So Chantal, we offer, oh my goodness. We offer a lot of courses. So initially, first and foremost, we do the private investigating training. So if anybody wants to become a private investigator in the province of Ontario, we offer that training. We are approved by the ministry in order to do that, as well as security guard. So anybody that wants to get their security guard license, we are also a training provider for that. Above and beyond those courses, we have a list that's going to be actually made public in the next couple of weeks of roughly 30 condensed courses that touch on interviewing, theory of surveillance, how to work a cold case file, also business strategy, marketing strategy, so on and so forth. So everything that has to do with anything. So those are all going to be made public, but those are the courses that I'm actually teaching right now and finalizing some of the course material and manuals for. So that being said too, I had answered a little bit about how to become a private investigator, but the same thing goes for a security guard. We train a lot of security guards through private eye investigations, but we don't hire them. I'm solely a PI agency. But people that are interested in either or, they're both very similar in respect to the training, then the exam, and who mandates it. So it's just your employer would more or less be different unless it's somebody that has a dual license. Do you ever have to worry about your safety after a case? How do you keep you and your team safe outside of work? Yes. Yes, Michelle. So my safety has been has been compromised before. I have been stalked by by somebody that, a target essentially of mine, a subject of mine, has stalked me in the past, and for quite some time too. That being said, once their case was put through in court and our report, was an affidavit was brought into court and stuff, they were made aware of who we were, and all of that information was to their public knowledge. So at that point, my safety became dangerous. They tried to alter my brakes on my car. They tried to find my home, which luckily they were not able to do. They were following me downtown as well. I've also had people send threatening text messages and emails and leaving phone calls or voicemails. So yes, but regards to my employees, no, none of that's ever happened after a case. I always really make sure to protect my employees to the full extent. I try to remove any of their personal information, so they don't know any information about the client other than what is the need to know for the case. So majority of the time, they don't even know their name. not the client, the target, sorry. And so that goes the other way. So in the reports and all that kind of stuff, it's never first name, last name. It would be like, for me, for instance, it would be private investigator Cyr. So we use solely their last name. And if it's a long case, we'll change their vehicles up so it's not their license plate. They never go directly home right after. We always make sure to either meet somewhere or get them to change somewhere else. So my employees have never had an issue. I have, but I'm also the face of my company, so it's kind of, even if I didn't work on a case, I'm the target. I'm the easy target. So thank you. I think, did I miss a question that was here? No. Okay, so I answered that one. So that's a really good question, and safety is important. And we've gone over it before. Like, I don't carry weapons and stuff like that, but I do carry things on me that can be very helpful to protect myself should I be confronted face on. But as we know, weapons are illegal here, and so protecting yourself and knowing how to protect yourself, and which is why self-defense is important in my line of work, because you never know the mental stability of the individual that you may encounter, as well as we deal with a lot of people that are on drugs, and you sometimes they may, not be in the right state of mind. Mathieu, me and Remy got your back. Merci. I appreciate that. So how do you work with financial-based cases? So that would be forensics accounting. Oh my gosh. Those are long. We work with a lot of individuals that are credited for that are trained in, in accounting and all that kind of fun stuff. We have access to information at that point. Also depends who hires us, but asset searches is huge for that. We'll find individuals that have tried to liquidate their cash into gold, or vice versa. Have bank accounts overseas. People that have various names. That's interesting too. We've had quite a few cases where people have more than one legal name, and they alter their name on documentation, so fraud essentially, in order to have various homes and properties elsewhere and assets that are listed to them, but under a different name, so that whenever the searches would come up, those particular things would not. We would also look into inheritance and any type of financial background if we need to, depending on what is required for the case or for the court case. If we have to do anything for credit and background checks and all that kind of stuff, it all has to do with that. Anybody that's ever applied for bankruptcy also. So financial-based cases is huge, especially when it comes into divorce or custody battles, business and entrepreneurs as well. A lot of people will, go into business with somebody thinking they know them, but they don't. We've had cases where a business partner has completely run a company dry because they didn't know how to manage money, and they pretty much just took it to pay off their own personal debt, and the business had to go bankrupt, and the other individual ended up losing their home. So, financial cases and forensics accounting is a huge part of what we do on a day-to-day. Donc, la question, c'était comment est-ce que tu travailles des dossiers par rapport à des dossiers financiers. Donc, forensics accounting. Looking forward to everyone being able to watch. Yes, I'm sure Michelle and Alan could attest to that. We are all of us, the entire team, is really looking forward to it. And I know that my team over at Private Eye is really excited too. It's 8 p.m. now. Fantastic. Alan, you are great. Thank you. You too. I appreciate it. All right, everybody. So next week, I've already decided what I would like to talk about. And essentially, I will need your help for that. So I want you guys to submit any type of stories that you know of, that either you've hired a private investigator or somebody you know, or a business you know of that's hired a private investigator, and I want to hear about it. Is it crazy? Is it out of this world? Is it funny? Or is it just completely a waste of time and energy? Let me know. I would love to read those. I'll keep them anonymous. I would love to read those next week and go over some of those with you. So please share your stories. I would love to hear them. And until then, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. I greatly appreciate it. Looking forward to Leslie, why would we, I think you're trying to say hire a private investigator? I believe so. And if you're looking to hire a private investigator, we've got thousands of reasons why you can. It could be to install a hidden camera, do surveillance on somebody undercover for a business, protect an elder for abuse. There's millions of reasons why you can. You can check out our website for more. If not, I can go more into detail next week. I can start with that question. We're just timing out now. So once again, thank you guys all so much for tuning in. I really, really, really appreciate it. Leslie, we are going to answer your question next week when we go back live. If not, feel free to go and check out Private Eye Investigations Facebook page. All your answers are there. Looking forward to seeing you guys all next week at 7 p.m. Monday, same place, same time. Thank you guys all so much. Good night. Great session. Thank you so much, Lynn. Appreciate it.